Students, welcome to Legacy IAS Academy. So in today's video, we are going to discuss about another very important climatic region, which we call as polar climate. Also, it is referred as Arctic climate, or as per vegetation, many times geographers also refer it as a tundra climate. So we are going to discuss in the climatic region of the world today, tundra, Arctic or polar climate. So first of all, to give you a brief introduction, this climate, obviously, since it is in the polar areas near the North Pole in the northern hemisphere and the South Pole in southern hemisphere, we have development of extremely cold climatic conditions throughout the year. Overall, on the basis of temperature and the development of ice, this climatic region can further be divided into polar tundra, that is where the vegetation to some extent is observed, and then the polar ice caps, that is almost near the 90-degree north and south pole, where the areas are covered completely by the large sheets of glacier, large extensive sheets of ice caps or ice shelf. As far as the Köppen is concerned, he has classified this climate under E type of climatic classification. And as per him, the summer temperature in this climatic region seldom increases than 10 degrees Celsius. That means on an average, it always remains less than 10 degrees Celsius. So as we can see, summer of the polar climatic region is also not so much not so much warm, not so much hot, because it is like a general winter temperature of the tropical and the temperate regions. As far as the distribution of this particular climatic region is concerned, we can clearly see on the map of world that in the northern hemisphere we have development of this climatic region in the upper northern part of Canada and then the Siberian region of Russia, as well as to some extent in the Kamchatka peninsula of the eastern Russia. Not only that, it also can be seen to be developing in the Greenland, which is again a very large land masses. So Greenland, Canada and Russia, we can say, in the northern hemisphere, and the entire Arctic peninsula in the southern hemisphere is where we see development of this particular climate. Now let us try to understand the climatic characteristics. So first of all, we talk about the temperature conditions. Obviously, since it is a polar climatic region, it has a very low average annual temperature. And we can understand this from the fact that for almost 8 months in a year, temperature remains lesser than 0 degrees Celsius. Only 4 months are the period where temperature becomes more than 0 degrees, but still it remains lesser than 10 degree Celsius. That's what we can say. We can say that this particular climatic region has a very long, 8 months long and severe winter, while summer is very short and cool in nature. Especially in the winter time, the region is covered by frost. There is development of extensive frost and also blizzard. Blizzard is a very strong wind that blows from the Arctic region. We have discussed in last session that blizzard is a cold, dry and powdery wind. Why powdery? Because when this wind blows at a very high velocity, it picks up the snow particle from the land surface, and many times if the snowfall is happening, the snow from the snowfall is also carried along with these strong winds. Thus we have development of a blizzard and frost like condition. Now, what about rainfall? So obviously we can understand that rainfall generally happens in the form of snowfall, because many in the winter time especially temperature is always below 0 degrees Celsius, and as we have discussed, the snow particles are then drifted, carried by blizzards, giving this kind of appearance as we can see in the picture. That means the entire atmosphere, entire surface, entire place near the earth surface seems to be covered by powdery snow particle snowflakes. Also, rainfall is relatively very less in amount, because obviously the surface temperature is very low. Thus the process of convection is seldom visible in this region. And also due to the cold condition, the moisture availability very less, because rate of evaporation will be very lesser. So due to the low rate of evaporation, we have less moisture. Due to low surface temperature, we have no possibility of convection, and that is why the rainfall is very less in this particular climatic region. However, in the summertime, as temperature gradually rises, we see development of a sleet fall. Sleet fall in simple terms can be described as a falling of both snow as well as liquid rain at the same time. Because what happened, temperature in the upper atmosphere is still very lesser than 0 degrees Celsius, but due to the summer season near the earth surface, temperature becomes slightly higher than 0 degrees Celsius. And thus when the snow is falling from the upper atmosphere toward the surface, due to this increase in temperature, some of the snow start to melt, and thus they convert into liquid. Thus we have falling of both liquid and solid precipitation, which is referred as sleet. On the other hand, if you look at the coastal areas of this particular climatic zone, because coastal areas is influenced by the temperate cyclones that develop in this region. So cyclonic rainfall to some extent is observed in these areas. So that is about the temperature as well as the rainfall. Now, what about the natural vegetation? So, obviously, in the tundra region, the polar climatic region is also called as tundra, as we discussed. So, in tundra region, we generally see absence of trees. The reason is very simple, because temperature is very less, the precipitation is very, very low, and also they have a very short growing season of merely 3 to 4 months. So, this is not enough for development of the trees, especially in the terms of forest or large forest tract. However, the surface of this region is covered by we can say vegetation, such as short vegetation such as mosses, lichens, and sedges, as we can see in this particular diagram. However, in those areas of this climate where you have abundant water bodies such as lakes and rivers are present, there we can see the survival of stunted, that means very short height of trees such as birch tree, dwarf willows are there. Willow is very popular tree in India. It is also used for manufacturing of bats as well as in other cricket playing countries, and also undersized alders. So these three trees, birches, alders, and willows, you can see around those areas where we have availability of water in the form of lake or river. However, in the summertime, many times what happens, as the temperature suddenly increases and there is some amount of precipitation in the form of rainfall, berry bushes and arctic flowers start to bloom, and it gives this kind of appearance to otherwise snowy, white kind of Arctic region. As you can see, we have large expanse of Arctic area that is covered under the flowers. So this is what we can call as Arctic bloom or Arctic flower bloom. But this is very short-lived phenomena, mainly 1 to 2 months, and after that everything becomes normal, cold and white. As far as economic activity is concerned, so obviously it is very difficult reason for surviving for the people, and thus the tribal people who are residing in this particular areas, they live a semi-nomadic kind of life. That means they have home, but in this home they do not live, they do not reside all the time. They move from this home to some other regions depending on the climate, depending on the weather. So in summertime they prefer to move toward the water bodies such as rivers, such as lakes, so that they can carry out the fishing activities, while in the winter time they come back because the river water bodies are frozen, water bodies are frozen, rivers are frozen, lakes are frozen, and that is why they return back to their, generally, the houses which are called as igloos. So what you can say, they are living a kind of semi-nomadic life. Second, obviously, since there is no agriculture that is possible in this condition, there is no trees or forest that has developed in this region, so largely they are basically depending upon hunting, gathering, and fishing activity that has been the traditional activity for this tribe for for thousands and thousands of years. As far as hunting is concerned, they are dependent upon the like for fishing, obviously they're dependent upon fishes, but for hunting activity they try to hunt seals, walruses, as well as many times even polar bears. And since temperature is very low in this region, many times the skin of polar bear is also used for making clothing items for the people so that they can survive such harsh winters. If you talk about the tribes that reside in these areas, we have Lapps tribe that resides in the Finland and Scandinavian region. We have Samoyed tribes that resides in the Russia. We have Yakut tribe that also reside in the Russia around Lena River basin, and we have Chukchis tribe that resides in the Siberian region of Russia. So Lapps, Samoyeds, Yakuts, and Chukchis are the major tribes of this particular regions. These tribes also many times domesticate reindeers, as you can see here, and they go on reindeer herding. They take the herds of reindeer and move toward the greener pasture land, especially during the summer season. Because I told you, in summer season, in cool brief summer, many times the Arctic flowers bloom, the areas are covered by grasses, and thus reindeers are taken there for so that they can feed upon these grasses. Again, to give you idea about the life of people, as you can see, this is the kind of igloo houses that they build from the ice, which they inhabit during the winter season. In the economic activity, whenever you have the summer season, the water bodies become mobile, become liquid, and thus fishing is carried out here. And people also use slate by using the Arctic dogs, by using these dogs, so that they can carry items from one place to another place. This is the major mode of transportation in this almost all time snow covered surface of Arctic. However, the future prospect of Arctic region is becoming more brighter, because as we know, Earth currently is suffering from the global warming. Due to global warming, we are having rise in the atmospheric temperature, and this atmospheric temperature increase has caused melting of the ice sheets and glacier of Arctic. So those regions of Arctic which could not have been approached, which could not have been explored till now, is now becoming open, and a lot of resources are expected are expected to be hidden below the ice sheets of Arctic. Especially resources such as oil and natural gas are believed to be found in abundant quantity, abundant amount below these ice sheets, and that is why all the countries around the Arctic Circle, such as Canada, USA, European countries such as Russia, Finland, Sweden, Denmark, you have China also, they all are interested in exploring and exploiting the economic opportunities that has been uncovered due to the phenomena of global warming. Not only that, as the ice sheets are melting, earlier it was very difficult to develop a shipping route through these solid ice layers, and now we have development of the water bodies around Arctic, and thus new shipping route also is expected to develop in the next decade. So all these changes obviously will lead to change in the Arctic region, somewhat similar to what we have expected in the what we have experienced in the Gulf region due to the oil boom. Suddenly, due to the oil and natural gas that is found in the Gulf region in the Arabian Peninsula, we have development of big metropolitan cities such as Dubai, Abu Dhabi, and Saudi Arabian cities. So similar kind of situation we can also expect in the cold, dry region of Arctic in the next 1 or 2 decades. That is all about this particular region. I hope you understood about the major concepts related to this. If you like the video, please hit the like button, share it with your fellow aspirants, as well as subscribe to our channel for more such helpful content. Thank you very much.